London, Victorian era, a city of extremes where wealth and poverty collided in fog-choked streets. The infamous pea super fog blanketed everything, turning the city into a world of shadows and whispers. Gas lamps flickered, barely piercing the gloom, while every alley promised secrets and danger. In this murky maze, the poor found both misery and anonymity, moving unseen through the mist. Here, the line between the grand and the grim blurred, and every step was a gamble. Our story begins as two figures emerge from the fog, perfectly at home in London's shadowy embrace. From the swirling mist, two figures appear: Katie, a sharp-eyed young woman, and Dav, her massive silent dog. Katie's clothes are rags, her gaze alert, she misses nothing. Dav, hulking and watchful, moves in perfect sync with her, no leash needed. Together they're a study in contrasts, her nervous energy, his quiet menace. Their bond is wordless, their purpose clear: survival. They don't belong to the world of shopkeepers or clerks, they're hunters seeking opportunity in the city's cracks. In the fog, they are both seen and unseen, outsiders, always on the hunt. Katie and Dav are known in whispers. The girl and her beast. Stories swirl. Some call her a witch, Dav a demon in dog's form. Dav's cold, intelligent stare unsettles everyone. Fear follows them like a shadow. This reputation is their shield and weapon. People give way, sometimes out of fear, sometimes to avoid that gaze. Rumours grow. Dav can sniff out lies, fend off thieves. Katie lets the myths grow, they keep her safe. As they move through the city, tension precedes every encounter. Their reputation does the talking. Dawn breaks as Katie and Dav slip from the alleys into the bustling market streets. Hunger drives them. Today must bring food or warmth. Their method is practiced. Katie scans for marks, Dav intimidates without a word. Every passerby is a calculation. Distracted, wealthy, frightened. Dav's presence shifts every interaction before it starts. They approach the shops, ready to turn desperation into opportunity. The market is chaos. Shouts, carts, a crush of bodies. For Katie, it's cover. For Dav, it's a stage. Attempts to find work are met with fear. Dav's reputation closes doors. Rejection stings, but Katie moves on, reading fear in every glance. Each no is a lesson in the city's wariness. She's not just seeking work, she's testing for weakness, for a crack in the armour. The market is full, but hearts are hard. Katie needs to find someone softer, someone unguarded. Her real hunt has just begun. As they left the bustling market, the street grew quieter, more ordered. People walked with purpose, eyes forward. Katie adjusted her posture, looking more desperate. She signalled Dav, her dog, to wait. The woman's eyes flickered from Katie to Dav, alarmed. "No, thank you," she said sharply, clutching her purse. The unspoken language was clear. Threat detected, retreat. Katie knew her best chance lay at the border between worlds. Katie led Dav through quiet Victorian streets, searching for a crack in the defences. Her eyes settled on a modest house where a young maid scrubbed the steps. Katy approached, Dav silent at her side. "Hard work for a cold morning," she offered. The maid froze, fear rising as Katy waited, probing for weakness. Eliza froze on the steps, gripped by fear as Katy and her powerful dog approached. Katy's offer of help was both a threat and a plea. The stern mistress appeared, ready to send them away, but hesitated. Her back ached, and the coal was heavy. "You can carry the coal. The dog stays outside." Katy curtsied politely. "Thank you, Ma'am." She gave Dav, her loyal dog, a meaningful look. "Wait here," she said, but Dav slipped inside behind her, blocking the door. The household froze in shock and fear. Katy feigned apology, but inside she knew everything was going exactly to plan. The hallway was thick with tension. Mrs. Gable stood rigid, her authority gone, silenced by the dog guarding the door. The animal was a living threat, its stillness a promise of swift action. She was a prisoner, the bars of her cell made of flesh and bone and teeth. Katy's eyes darted, cataloguing the hallway, planning her next move. She moved deeper into the house, the dog's gaze tracking every step. A silent guardian, holding them all in check. Once out of sight, in the narrow passage leading to the servants' quarters, Katy's demeanour shifted instantly. The look of frightened apology vanished, replaced by one of intense focused concentration. She moved with a silent, practiced swiftness that belied her ragged appearance. The house was quiet, filled only with the sound of a ticking clock from somewhere in the parlour and the frantic beating of her own heart. Every creak of the floorboards under her worn boots sounded like a gunshot. This was the most dangerous part of the game. She was alone now, relying entirely on Dav to maintain control in the hallway. She bypassed the kitchen for a moment, her instincts drawing her towards the parlour door, which was slightly ajar. Peeking through the crack, she saw a room filled with the trappings of modest middle-class life. Heavy velvet curtains, a polished mantelpiece crowded with porcelain figures, and a small writing desk in the corner. Her eyes scanned the room, hungry for anything of value. She spotted it almost immediately. A lady's purse, made of dark leather with a silver clasp, lying on the desk. It was likely Mrs. Gable's. Her pulse quickened. This was the prize. It was a far better haul than a few loose coins from a kitchen jar. The risk was immense. Entering the main parlour was a much greater transgression than going to the kitchen. It was a private space, and her presence there would be impossible to explain if she were caught. But the potential reward was too great to ignore. Taking a deep, steadying breath, she slipped into the room, her feet making no sound on the thick rug. The air was still and smelled faintly of beeswax and old paper. She moved directly to the desk, her senses on high alert for any sound from the hallway. Her fingers, nimble and quick, closed around the purse. It felt heavy in her hand, confirming her hopes. It was full. She did not linger. With the purse secured inside her coat, she retreated from the parlour as silently as she had entered. Her mission was complete. Now she had to navigate her way out of the house. She picked up the coal scuttle she had left in the passage, completing the final piece of her alibi. As she walked towards the kitchen, she composed her face back into a mask of worried subservience. The entire operation, from entering the parlour to securing the purse had taken less than a minute. To anyone watching, she had simply been carrying the coal to its destination, a poor, hapless girl with a very troublesome dog. Mrs. Gable's shock curdled into suspicion as she watched the girl and her dog. This was no accident, she was certain of it. Her eyes darted to the hallway table. The letter opener was missing. Doubt gnawed at her, but the certainty of a crime settled coldly in her chest. The heavy front door clicked shut behind them, final and damning. Katie and Dav stepped into the misty London street, the purse a reassuring weight in her coat. Behind them, Mrs. Gable's fury erupted, her cries shattering the quiet. The unravelling thread had begun. Katie and Dav, exposed, vanished into the shadows as the city awoke to their crime. The police whistle pierced the night, echoing through the alley. Katie's heart pounded as she ran, Dav the dog at her side. The constable's shouts grew closer. Desperate, Katie toppled a cart of rotten cabbages blocking the way. She and Dav slipped past, lungs burning, the whistle fading behind them. They'd escaped, for now. The chase plunged into the city's labyrinth, where narrow alleys and towering soot-stained tenements blocked out the sun. Katie knew every secret turn, but the constable was out of his depth. Using the crowd as a shield, she and Dav slipped into a shadowy doorway, vanishing into the maze within the maze. The corridor ended at rotten stairs, leading Katie and Dav into a pitch-black cellar. Hiding behind a mound of coal, she held her breath as the constable's footsteps echoed above. Minutes crawled by. At last, the danger passed. In the cold darkness, clutching the stolen purse, Katie was queen of the shadows. News of the robbery spread quickly through London, twisting with every telling. A girl, a dog, a stolen purse soon became a tale of supernatural cunning. Katie was no longer just a ragged urchin, but a legend. Dav, her dog, became a demon, eyes glowing, floating above the cobbles. Soon they were known as the Gutter Witch and her hellhound, a name whispered in fear. In the smoky warmth of a Seven Dials gin palace, the story of Katie and Dav was the talk of the night. Among rogues and outcasts, their tale inspired awe, a rare victory against the system. The gin-soaked air buzzed with rumours. The dog that never barked, the girl who could pick any lock. For the powerless, Katie and Dav's legend was a spark of hope in the gloom. In the morning, whispers of Katie and her dog Dav swept through the Victorian market. Vendors spoke in fear, her eyes black as coal, the dog unblinking, a chill in the air. The legend grew, making Katie and Dav both feared and unmistakable. Their fame brought power and danger. The rumours shaped Katie and Dav's world. Fear, once their tool, now surrounded them, an invisible wall isolating them from everyone. People flinched, crossed the street and locked doors. Their legend made life easier, but at a cost. They were monsters, shunned by all. In the end, they only had each other. Katie's story is one of survival in the unforgiving streets of Victorian London. For the desperate, morality faded. Survival meant doing whatever was necessary. Society closed its doors, forcing her into the shadows. Each act to survive built her legend, but also her isolation. In the end, survival came at a heavy price. In this world of shadows and suspicion, one thing remained pure and unbroken: the bond between Katie and Dav. Theirs was a relationship that transcended the simple dynamic of a person and their pet. It was a partnership, a silent pact made against a hostile world. They were two parts of a single entity, navigating the treacherous streets as one. Dav was not merely a tool for intimidation. He was Katie's protector, her confidant, and her only family. His loyalty was not bought with treats or commanded by force. It was a profound, instinctual devotion to the one person who had shown him something other than cruelty. For Katie, Dav was her anchor in a sea of despair. In his steady amber eyes, she did not see the hellhound of the rumours, but a reflection of her own fierce will to survive. He was the one constant in her chaotic life, a warm, breathing presence to huddle against on the coldest nights. He was the recipient of her whispered fears and her rare, fleeting moments of relief. The world saw him as a monster, but she knew the truth. She knew the soft rumble in his chest that was not a growl, but a sound of contentment. She knew the gentle way he would nudge her hand for a reassuring touch. And for Dav, Katie was his entire world. In a city where dogs like him were often abused, abandoned, or forced into brutal fights, Katie was his sanctuary. He was fiercely protective, not out of trained aggression, but out of an unwavering loyalty to his pack of two. His intimidating presence was a shield he raised to defend the only source of kindness he had ever known. He read her moods, understood her silent commands, and sensed her fear. He was her guardian, her shadow, and the living embodiment of the strength she wished she possessed herself. Theirs was a love forged in hardship, silent and profound. This bond highlights the ultimate toll of their existence, their complete and utter isolation. They had only each other. The rest of London, with its millions of souls, its bustling crowds and its grand society, might as well have been on another planet. They were a tiny island of two, adrift in a vast, uncaring ocean. This shared solitude was both their greatest strength and their most profound tragedy. It allowed them to survive, to function as a ruthlessly efficient team. But it also meant that they were utterly, devastatingly alone, together in the dark. As we leave them, huddled in some forgotten corner of the city, the story of Katie and Dav does not truly end. It simply dissipates, becoming one with the countless other unheard tales of Victorian London. They are spectres of the past, figures drawn in smoke and fog, representing the harsh realities that lay beneath the veneer of progress and empire. Their story is a whisper on the wind, an echo in the labyrinthine alleys that still crisscross the modern city. They remind us that history is not just made by kings and queens, but by the desperate and the forgotten, fighting their own small, epic battles for survival. The London they knew, a city of pea-soup fogs and gaslight, has long since vanished. The rookeries have been torn down, and the gin palaces have been replaced. but the core themes of their story remain timeless. The chasm between the rich and the poor, the desperation that drives people to crime, and the way society can create its own monsters through fear and neglect. These are not relics of the Victorian age. They are issues that continue to echo in our own time, in cities all over the world. The struggle for a place in a world that seems to have no room for you is a story that is eternally retold. What became of Katie and Dav? Did their luck eventually run out? Did a constable finally catch them, or did their legend grow so large that they could no longer operate? We will never know. Perhaps they simply faded away, swallowed by the city that had both created and condemned them. Or perhaps, just perhaps, they managed to scrape together enough from their illicit earnings to disappear, to find a small, quiet life somewhere far from the whispers and the fear. Their fate remains as murky and uncertain as the London fog from which they first emerged. In the end, their legacy is the legend they left behind. A story told in taverns and marketplaces, a cautionary tale that reveals more about the society telling it than it does about its subjects. They became a part of the city's folklore, their names joining the long list of bogeymen and phantoms that haunt the collective imagination. And so, even now, if you walk through the older parts of London on a misty evening, you might feel a sudden chill. You might imagine seeing a flicker of movement in the shadows. A slight girl and her formidable dog, forever walking the cobbled streets, forever alone together in the world.